Konnichiwa, and welcome to our video review discussion of Killing Floor Incursion. This is a VR exclusive title available on all platforms. It was originally an Oculus exclusive released on the 16th of August 2017. It is now available on all platforms, including Steam, which was 14th of November, and it came to PSVR a bit later on in 2018. It's priced at £14.99 or $20. It's actually currently on sale on Steam at 50% off if you at the time of listening to this video, which means it's actually now £7.50 or $10, which is a bargain. Made by Tripwire Interactive, the same developers who made the other Killing Floor flat games. They've now ported it and bought it over as a completely standalone game. It's not a port, I suppose. It's a standalone game within the same kind of universe and their franchise. So, Wes, as always, I like to start with you. Tell me what is this? What sort of game is this?
This is basically a first-person shooter. It's a lot of people like to call it a zombie survival game, but the story of this game is that you're kind of critically injured, and everything that takes place in it takes place in your head. So you have these you're kind of jacked into the AI, the way people like to fantasize that we're going to one day be. And this is kind of a virus that has infected your mind. And you're basically, while you're fighting for your life on the operating table, you're fighting for your life in your mind from these, they're called Zeds. They're zombie-like creatures that are coming and trying to kill you. And so you're basically moving your way through these maps trying to not die, basically, with any kind of a large array of weapons. So I would call it a zombie survival FPS, but it's very different from your standard zombie survival FPS.
Yeah, it's got like an overarching story that plays throughout the game where you're basically in a simulation. So you're in a simulation, training simulation, but something's gone wrong and you can now actually die. If you die in the simulation, you die in the real life world. And you've got this woman who's talking to you the entire time, trying to give you instructions, and things twist and change as you go through. So there's a reason to keep playing and to find out what happens in the end. Let's talk a bit about the visuals. I know, Wes, did you play this on PSVR?
Yes, I did.
And Roots, you've played it on PC, did you? Okay, let's start with the PC first. Then, what did you think to the visuals on the PC?
I thought they were really good, actually. Like surprisingly good, almost to the point where if you're don't like scary stuff, you probably shouldn't play this game. I thought the graphics were really good, and I think the game in general, just the gameplay. I mean, getting a little bit ahead of myself, but I felt the guns worked really well too and felt good. So.
Yeah, Wes, did you play this on PC as well, or just on the PSVR?
Just on PSVR.
So you can't compare the two. But how does it look on the PSVR? Is it a good-looking game?
It's a very good-looking game. And when I think about this game graphically, what really I think about is sharpness, contrast. The clarity in this game is really outstanding. It's very, not only are the environments and the characters very detailed, but it kind of has this dark crispness to it, to everything. And yeah, very graphically good looking game. I did try it on the PSVR Pro, of course, but one of the better looking games on PlayStation VR, to be honest.
Yeah, they've used the assets from the main flat game, so they're obviously decent quality assets. They're not, the environments are good. I actually preferred the first level, weirdly, out of all of them, which is more of a dark kind of horror level. But because of this being within like a simulation, they do play with that a little bit, where you go to these different locales. So you're not really flowing through from one area to the other. You're kind of going one minute you can be in this outdoor environment, the next minute you're in the catacombs of Barcelona, the next minute you're in an apartment or in a building within Paris. So, Roots, did you like that? Or would you like that aspect of, that they varied the levels up, or would you have preferred it to have gone through more of a flow through an area and felt like you were actually going from one place to another rather than it feeling like individual levels?
I think if you didn't have the overlying narrative, the story, it would seem weird. But because that's what's kind of cool about it, right? Like you're in this AI and it's controlling different things. And if you really were jacked in, it could snap you to another area. And that's something in VR that you can't get in real life. I can't be in this room and be downstairs in my living room instantly. I have to walk down the stairs, you know? So I love, one of my favorite things in games and is when you go in somewhere and you turn around and when you look back, everything's different. Because again, it's just something that I can't experience in my real life. And it always blows me away. On a side note, the story of this thing, like the whole you're jacked into a virus and you're gonna die in real life and shit. Like, is there any other reason why people need to realize that having AI jacked into your brain directly is probably a bad idea? It's probably not good. You know, I just don't trust governments enough. I don't trust people enough. I don't trust AI enough. Seems like a very bad, bizarre thing to want to do, but you know, to each their own. I'll be thinking about you when you're stuck in the Matrix and I'm out in the real world. So
yeah, that's definitely a topic for another show. But yeah, Wes, what did you think to the flow of the game? Did you think it flowed well? Did you enjoy the gameplay of this game?
I did enjoy the gameplay, and I did appreciate the variance in the levels. I like having games with a lot of different locations. What I didn't like was the transition. I didn't like being pulled out to the menu and the way you had to select each one. I felt that it broke the immersion. One of the few complaints I have about this game is the way you transition from scene to scene. But as far as having all these different scenes in all these different areas, yeah, I like that. I just didn't think it was done very well as far as the continuity.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you say, guys said, it did bring some variety. I think the main problem I had, like I say, I preferred this first level that we've got playing now. I think more because it was open a bit more. You had more open area, whereas the rest of the levels felt very. You were in very tight corridors. You couldn't really move around. When you've got a load of zombies or whatever you want to call them, Zeds coming at you, you want to be able to move yourself around while you're shooting them and reloading. And you couldn't do that because you were just in such a tight, cramped space that you just inevitably ended up backed into a corner. You can obviously have that melee weapons. You've got melee weapons where you can chop their arms off and their heads off, and the combat's pretty good. You know, the weight of their weapons feels pretty good. The guns feel pretty beefy and powerful. You've got a lot of variety in the weapons as well: pistols, shotguns, and assault rifles. So there is variety in the way that you can play it. It's just that was my main frustration. Was I found myself constantly getting into a point where they send loads of these zombies at me, and I'm kind of just like backed up, waiting for an animation to play for the reload. I always prefer personally to reload manually. I know you. I think Roots. I think you prefer just to press a button and watch an animation, but that's another thing that I didn't like as much was just the fact that it was more. It felt like more of a flat game. That's like a flat game trope to me. Whereas when I'm in VR, I do prefer that interaction with rather than standing there while an animation plays out. I want to actually be doing something while it's reloading. So I want to physically grab the clip.
Yeah, but my thing is
and
I just
load it.
want it to be done right. Like if you're gonna have me reload, don't give me jank, you know, because that's the problem. It's like, and you shouldn't, you know. And granted, okay, it's real, not it's you want it as much simulation for real life, but I don't want to have where I'm dropping clips and I'm like fumbling for all that shit. Like, at some point.
But that's the good thing about it, though. It's on you. I mean, unless the game's causing you to drop the clips, if you get good at the game, like with Pavlov, and I know you're talking about Pavlov in particular. I think you said that you've had problems with dropping things, but I found that once you get hang of where everything is, and you've got that learning process of you learning how to reload a gun, and that's what gives it that extra layer of depth for me over a flat game where you just press a button and you're just watching an animation play out. And while you're watching that animation play out, you can't do anything. You're stuck. You're just stood there, just waiting for something to play out until you can actually shoot again. And that's what That's what VR does differently in some games, and that's what I like about it.
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is, and I agree, it's not necessarily that. It's just there are games where the reloading just isn't done very well, and that's more what I'm speaking to. But yeah, I mean, it's like Pavlov, like you said. If you're just dropping it, like then it is more of a user error issue, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, we'll move forward from. Wes, have you got anything you want to add to that before we move on?
Oh no, I'm good.
No? Okay. I mean, you played it on the PSVR, so was it moves that you used with this, or was it the aim control?
It's the move controllers, and it plays very well. The gunplay is good, even throwing the knives. It's all good. One of the things I really liked about it was the tutorial at the beginning. They put you in a training simulation, and they let you stay there as long as you want. And so I kind of got addicted to that and probably played 30 or 45 minutes just throwing my knives till I got good at that and shooting the guns until I got good at that before I even started playing the story campaign. I like the variety of weapons, and everything looks, sounds, and feels good. The only complaint I had with any of the gameplay was I didn't like the placement of the holsters. They didn't feel like they were in a natural spot, and sometimes I had to really try to reach my guns. But other than that, the gunplay was great. Locomotion, this is one of the better examples of move controller locomotion. I think it may have been the first or one of the first that allowed us to not be forced to choose free locomotion or teleport. You can do both at the same time. Press this button to walk, press this button to teleport. And what that does is it gives you a lot of freedom to just keep everything free flowing. And if you feel like in a spot you would normally get stuck, you could tell, some areas were intended for teleportation. Well, you can just teleport out of it. No big deal. And you can have smooth turning or snap turning. Lots of options here. Really, really good movement controls. And basically the gold standard for movement schemes on the move controllers.
Yeah, they definitely gave you a lot of options for movement on PC as well. They also gave options for holsters where you can have it on your chest, so it's kind of like your pistols are kind of like down here sort of thing going. And I had the same issue as you. I tried both. None of them really worked well. I think the problem is that it's too sensitive to you turning your head. So if you turn your head, the holsters turn with you. Sometimes you're looking over there, you go to reach down to pick your gun up, and they've twisted with your head, so then they're actually in front of you down here. And like with Robo Recoil, for example, you could very easily just reach down and quickly grab without looking, whereas with this, I was constantly having to look down to figure out where the guns were before I could grab them, rather than being able to instinctively just grab them. And when you're in the heat of a battle and you've got these, because they do send a lot of these zombies coming at you at once, you want to be able to just grab your gun and change and flip and change between your weapons easily. You don't want to be fumbling about trying to figure out where your guns disappeared to. So yeah, that is definitely a valid criticism. There's a few different types of zombies in this as well. I think that's worth mentioning. Roots, did you think that there was a good variety? Because obviously, one you've mentioned before about zombies having the same skin. These aren't really your traditional zombies in that they look like people. They're kind of like almost like monsters, aren't they? What sort of types we got? We got like a spidery
Yeah, that's
one.
what's kind of, they're just creepy. Like there's like you said, so many different types, and some are coming at you fast, some are going slow, some are crawling. It really gives you, I mean, you just don't know what to expect is going to be coming at you, and then some of them are a little bit harder to kill. So I did think they did a really good job of keeping a good variety, and I mean, honestly, there's so much going on. I can't even imagine at some point you're even paying attention to what's going on as far as what type. You're just like frantically trying to kill shit. And that's why I like it. I like tons of action. So
Yeah, there's like boss battles as well. These massive guys with chainsaws and stuff that come at you. And that I found that a little bit because I found I wasn't moving fast enough with the free locomotion, so I was trying to teleport, but then the teleport's got like a cooldown period, so then I was constantly trying to get away from this thing, that massive thing. But yeah, it's the gameplay is good, the gameplay is solid, the graphics are good, the sound's good as well. It's got good sound effects. The zombies, the monsters, you can hear them. Like in this first level, it's dark, so you can hear them and you can hear them coming at you. And I think that's the main thing. This first level sets a tone, but the rest of the game kind of shifts. You're more in the daylight, or you're in more well lit areas. So it does change tone throughout the game. It's not really a scary game, I would say, but yeah. Wes, have you got anything to add on that?
No, I agree that the sounds are very well done. Um, Only kind of criticism I would have about the gameplay in general with the diversity of the zombies, it's okay. The boss fight, they're kind of similar, I would say, in the way that you approach them. Oftentimes, you find yourself just running away and then pausing every now and then, turning around, taking a few shots, and then starting to run some more. Lather, rinse, repeat until the boss is dead. But other than that, I think it's a sufficient amount of different enemies and overall fun game to play.
Yeah, I think we've talked about it enough now. We've got enough to give a conclusion. So I'll start with you, Roots. Obviously, forget about the sale price because that's not going to be on there for very long. So regular price, £14.99 or $19.99. Would you recommend this game at that
I
price?
would, especially if you liked this type of game. If you liked Killing Floor to begin with, I mean, it's the same devs. They've done a really good job bringing it over. Has great atmosphere, and I played the only time I've played multiplayer, and we had a lot of fun. So it's a great game to play with somebody else as well.
Yeah. How long have you, Wesley, did you finish this one? Do you know how long it
Uh,
took you to finish it?
no, I didn't finish it. I made it pretty deep into the game. I think I'm about halfway through the Paris level, so I think that's pretty far along. I'm not 100% about that.
Yeah,
Um,
I finished it in the Paris level, I think. It's been a while since I played it because when you get to the Paris level, there actually is like a sniper bit as well on the roof, which is mixes
yeah,
up a little
it's
bit.
really good. It's one
Yeah,
of the better sniper rifles I've played with in VR. Honestly, it's pretty good.
yeah. There's a bit where you snipe out of a window, and then there's a bit on the roof as well. So they do mix it up a little bit. I think it took me about 3.5, maybe 4 hours to finish this game, so it's decent length. So I'll ask you the same question. What do you think? $20, yay or nay?
Yeah, I wouldn't begrudge someone for paying $20. I mean, you could probably get it on a sale, and price is subjective, person to person. But yeah, I would say it's worth $20. I think it's a must-have game for PlayStation VR owners. It's still one of the better FPS games on PlayStation VR. So yeah, definitely pick it up.
Yeah, I think for PlayStation VR especially, it's a pretty damn good purchase. PC VR, well, maybe we've got a little bit more choice, but I still think it's definitely worth picking up, even if you just wait for a little bit of a sale. And it's an older game, so it does pop up on sale on a regular basis. So, yep, okay, I think that'll do that for this review. So, if you liked what you hear, if you want to listen to us ramble about games more, then hit like, hit subscribe. If not, hit the dislike button. No problem. I'm sure if you've made it this far, you're not listening to us Anyway, so we'll leave it at that. And yeah, check us out. We've got another review coming tomorrow, and speak to you guys later.
Appreciate you watching.